Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another sports stuff video. Today we'll be doing a tier maker list about what position groups, if let's say you get drafted to a team and you're not a good football player, how many chances do you get and how long is your shelf life in the NFL? Why am I doing that ranking? Because I feel like some positions, let's just say you don't really hit in your first team, you get more chances than any other position. There are certain groups that get more chances, so I want to go over that. So if you guys do enjoy, please like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into the video. So, starting it off, obviously, we're going to start probably on the defensive side of the ball. Right here, so that's Troy Polamalu. So, safety. Let's say you get drafted to your first team and you're not a good player. Like, you're like below average, you're a fringe roster guy, and you make it the full 4 years of your contract. Are you going to be getting an extension with your team, or are we getting another chance? I do think safeties, more than others, get 1 year flyers, right? We've seen this in the last couple of years. Terrell Edmonds is a very great example that was drafted to the Steelers, never really hit, and now he's been on 1 year flyers since he kind of has been in the league. Now, I think we can all agree that the situation, I don't think he's in the situation was never right. I don't think that's the safety position, because safety, usually, especially if you're like a free safety, you get chances, right? The situation is right. At free safety, you got to be able to stop deep balls, play your deep zone, and if you can't do it, then you're gonna struggle. And I think safety, they get a lot of 1 year flyers. You'll never get that long term. Let's say you're good enough, you're athletic enough to where, like, you know what? Defenses keep taking chances on, if we can get this guy to hit, he'd be a solid starter for us. But safety, I do feel like after your rookie contract, if you're making the full 4 years, it's gonna be something that's like you're gonna get the full 4 years because you're obviously athletic enough to be safety. But I think if you're not good, if you're not one of those starting level guys, it's gonna be a lot of 1 year flyers in your career. And it might even be just 1 or 2 of those 1 year flyers until you're out of the league. So I think safety, I feel very comfortable putting it at the 1 year flyer. Now, yes, I could have broken down the strong safety, free safety, whatever, but it's just safety overall. Again, safety's very hard because, like, if you can't stop the big plays and you can't make big hits, you're gonna keep getting cut. And I think it's one of those position groups that you are so important to a defense that you kind of can't get hit in by another player. So I think if you don't hit in your rookie contract, you're gonna get 1 or 2 1 year flyers, and then if you still don't hit, you're out of the league. Next we have defensive lineman. As you can see, that is Aaron Donald. So I'm counting pass rusher in with this. So pass rushers and D tackles. Let's say you get drafted and you don't hit. You get like 2 sacks every year. You get maybe 30 pressures in a season and get 1 forced fumble, right? It's solid production, nothing special. I do think you're going to get the situation was never right. The reason I say this is because there are a lot of guys in the league right now that are 7, 8 years into their career and they're still getting signed. A very big example, for example, is the TikToker Isaiah. Oh my gosh, what's his name? I can't remember his name. His wife's name is Cooch. He was on the Browns, the Chargers, Raiders, and the Browns. He had a 7 or 8 year career, and he was never that special of a player. He was an okay rotation pass rusher, not a great run stopper, but he still got involved in a lot of different teams. There are guys right now on every single team that are going to keep getting 1 year deals. Harold Landry, for example, is an okay pass rusher, but because he's okay, has been on 3 teams now. Shaq Barrett is a solid pass rusher. He's on multiple teams now, right? Like, it's insane. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka is on the Browns right now. And guess what? He's going to be on another team next year. Al-Qadim Muhammad for the Detroit Lions, who just played last week for his 8th team in 8 years, is going to continue to get signed. It's just a position that if you're okay at the job, good enough to be in the NFL, you're always going to be in camp with someone. So I think they do get more leeway than other positions because pass rush is so unique, right? There's so many different, whether you're a wide 9, a 4 tech, a 5 tech, you're pushing different gaps, or you're a run stopper. If you're a good run stopper but not a good pass rusher, you're going to play on 1st, 2nd down, right? If you're a good pass rusher, you're going to play on 3rd and 4th down. There's so much going into that group. I think they get a lot more leeway than other position groups, especially D tackle, because D tackle right now I feel is very thin in the NFL when it comes to high caliber players. That if you're just an okay player who, again, can make a roster, but is he really that special? You're going to be on a team somewhere. Tommy Togiai, who the Browns drafted in the 3rd round in 2020, was god-awful. He is still in the NFL for the Houston Texans. Siaki Ika, was awful, is still in the league, right? There are Solomon Thomas, who was a complete bust, was maybe worth a like 6th round draft pick is still in the league. So again, if you are an okay player and you're okay at one thing, you're gonna be on a roster somewhere. So I do think they get more of that. Oh, the situation was never right. You know, the situation was never right. But if we sign them, they'll be right for our defense. And then after the season, when they have 1 sack and 10 pressures and like 5 run stops, they're gonna land somewhere else saying, you know what, the situation wasn't right last year. The situation here will be better. That's what I think with the D tackle and defensive lineman position, because it's so important that you carry like 8 or 9 defensive linemen a year on your teams, because it's such a physically demanding position that so many guys are going to get multiple chances. So yeah, I'm going to put them in the situation was never right, just above safety in 1-year flyer. Oh yeah, I didn't even talk about the tiers. So rookie contract is after your rookie contract. If you did not hit to the level of being a starter, you're out of the league. Like, it's very hard for you to get another job. 1-year flyer is like, okay, it's after your rookie contract. You either got cut from your original team or they let you walk in free agency. You're going to get a 1-year deal here and there. Like maybe another year or 2 of 1-year flyers until you're out of the league. The situation is never right is, yes, you got multiple 1-year flyers, but you're stacking like 4 years of 1 year. So you're in the league for like 6, 7, 8, 9 years, but it's all 1-year flyers and you're never really making a high impact, but you're still getting somewhere. Then Journeyman is someone who just bounces around the league on 1-year deals, 2-year deals, and they play somewhat of a role, but for some reason they last for 10 years in the league somehow. So that is the different tiers. I think 4 tiers is pretty solid for what I'm trying to do. But yeah, so safeties at 1-year flyers, again, you're not going to hear much about safeties if they don't hit after 5, 6 years. They're out of the league. Defensive linemen, you're going to hear 6, 7, 8 year veterans that you're like, how is this guy in the league for so long? Because defensive line is such a physically demanding position that guys get hurt all the time. And journeyman, again, is just guys that for some reason last 10, 11, 12 years somehow. Next, we have linebacker. That is Patrick Willis holding the linebacker position down. I actually am going to go 1-year flyer. It's shocking to see the short lifespan of linebackers, right? Even guys who are good starters only last 8, 9 years in the league as a starting level linebackers. You don't hear much about year 13, 14, 15 linebackers. You don't. You hear at year 8, year 9, starters are out of the league. So, you know, linebacker, because it's such a highly volatile position, like again, I can only speak for the Cleveland Browns because that's what I've been following for a long time. Devin Bush was almost out of the league 2 years ago. He played his full 4-year contract with the Steelers. No, they cut him. They cut him in year 4. He played 3 years with the Steelers, got cut in year 4, goes to Seattle, has a mediocre year. Then the Browns sign a 1-year flyer as a run stopper, as a 1-year flyer. If it doesn't work out, he'll go off somewhere, and he probably wouldn't get signed against 3 teams in a row, 3 years that he got cut. And he hit. Like, he finally did hit. I think linebacker is another position that if you specialize in one thing, you're going to get after 4 years of your rookie contract. If you don't really hit as a starter or a high-end role player, you're going to get somewhere else. It's like, oh, we like that guy in the draft. He's finally a free agent. Let's see if we can unlock what we got out of the draft. 1-year flyer, it didn't work out. Okay, have a good day. We'll go back to the draft. I think that's another physically demanding position that if you don't hit soon, they're going to move on because there's going to be a lot of young guys in the draft. There's older veterans that do somehow make it lasting. But I'm talking about the guys who are not good enough to be a starter, or just not even barely enough to be high-end role players. Just guys that fill out the roster and specialize in certain things. I think 1-year flyer is absolutely, again, 5, 6 years at most for fringe roster linebackers. Next, we have corner. That's Champ Bailey holding down the corner position. Interesting enough, I'm going to say the situation was never right. Corner, seriously, you have to shock. There are D Virgin is still in the league. He has been in the league for like 10 years, it feels like. And he has never started, in my opinion, I don't think he started an NFL game in 5 years. And he's still in the league. Like, I think corner, if you are a veteran and you are good in the film room and you are good enough to, like, in situations for 20 snaps in a game, can come in and fill for an injury, you have like 8, 9 years of a career, because so many, again, just like defensive linemen, corner, defensive linemen, I think have an offensive line as well, carry the most amount of guys on a roster in every single team. So if you're a okay NFL 53-man roster corner, you're going to have a job until you want to retire, or until, you know, you have a horrific injury and you're not the same guy. There are guys right now who are, Ronald Darby is still in the league, right? Like what's his name? Jalen. Oh, he was on the Eagles. This issue. The minute I always say this. The minute I hit record on a video, all of my football name knowledge goes out the door. I know who I'm talking about. I get like their first or their last name. I can never combine the names though. He was on the Eagles. He went to Jalen Mills. Jalen Mills is still in the league. Like Quandre Diggs is still in the league. He's a safety nickel corner hybrid. But there are so many guys. Shaq Griffin is still in the league. And that dude has not been good in 4.5 years. And he is a starter for the Seattle Seahawks. If you are a competent 53-man corner where you're just good enough to make the roster, but not good enough to be a starter, you're going to have a very long $1.5 to $2 million a year career. And that is very impressive. I think corner, again, you carry 5-6 corners. Every single team carries that. That is 800 jobs in the NFL that every single team is going to have. And I think they take massive advantage of it. They take massive advantage of it because 800 corners, there are not 800 starting level corners. And like you're going to keep getting 1-year flyers, 2-year, like, oh, you had a really good year 1 year. Here's a 2-year extension. Here's a 2-year deal. Oh, you're bad. We're going to cut you after 1 year. Like that's the life of a 51st, 52nd rated corner on a team. And I just can't, again, I think situation was never right. They're going to keep saying it. They're always be like, oh, they wanted the younger talent to start, so this older veteran didn't get a chance. Then, oh, the older veteran, again, he's seen a lot from offenses, and he can read young quarterbacks better, give them fit. Like, there's always a way you can flip a corner's bad production into the situation was never right. And I think corner absolutely has to be one of those positions. Now, punter is going to be the first one in rookie contract. There are so many punters that go undrafted or get drafted in the 6th or the 7th and don't get extended. There are so many. Presley Harvin, for example, was punting for the Pittsburgh Steelers for like 3.5 years. He had one bad season. I haven't seen him back in the NFL since. I haven't seen him. Marquette King was a Pro Bowl punter. Lasted like 5 years. Punter is such a hard job to keep your job. If you can make it 8, 9, 10 years in the league, it's like crazy. Like Johnny Hecker is crazy that he is still in the league. And he's such an abnormality, he'll be a Hall of Famer. If you make it into year 8, 9, 10 as a punter, you're a Hall of Famer. And it's such an interesting position because it's just kicking the ball. It's punting the ball as far as you can. And for some reason, these young guys can't stay in the league. And they go to the spring leagues, they go to the CFL, or they just stop playing football overall once they get their money from the rookie contract. But not many punters make it past rookie contracts, and even when they do, it's 1-year flyers after that. You don't see many punters making it past that rookie contract, or even get drafted at all and make it 4 or 5 years going on 1-year flyers in different teams. So they're definitely a rookie contract type of position. Next is going to be kicker. I think kicker is going to be at the very tail end of 1-year flyers. The reason I say that is because usually kickers who make a roster their first rookie season, it's for a reason. And like, for example, right, Cade York for the Cleveland Browns got drafted in the 4th round, played his rookie year with the Browns, was entering his 2nd year, gets cut. The very next day, the New York Giants signed Cade York to the roster. He kicked a couple of games, got cut, ended up back on the Browns. Like, if you're a kicker who can make a 53-man roster, there's a reason. Whether you're very accurate, you have a strong leg, or now, especially with the new kickoff rules, if you're able to get it into the landing zone, you're going to end up on a roster no matter what. So I think after a rookie contract, after your first 4 years in the league, if it's all with one team, there's going to be some team that has a really bad kicker problem that wants to sign you as a 1-year flyer. So kicker is it's a little different than, I guess, the other position groups, because like you keep one kicker, you keep one punter. So I'm thinking of as these are the last 2 guys you roster on a 53-man roster is your kicker and punter. So if you're good enough to get rostered once, you're gonna get 1-year flyers by other teams to try and see if you can solve their issue, right? Chase McLaughlin is on the Buccaneers. He's been on like 5 different teams. Younghoe Koo kicked in the AAF, ended up on the Chargers, got cut, ended up on the Falcons, was there for 6 years. Cody Parkey, multiple teams. Every single kicker around the league, there's like 5 kickers right now that are on multiple year extensions with their teams. Graham Gano, Kyami Fairburn. It was what's his name? It was Younghoe Koo, but he's no longer on a multi-year extension. He's already cut. Like the shelf life for kickers is so small that if you have a 4-game stretch where you're like 50% field goal percentage, you're getting cut. So I think 1 year flies is absolutely where I would put that, because they're just high enough where if you're a roster kicker, you're going to get multiple chances, but it's never going to be a multi-year deal if you're a fringe kicker. Next, we have offensive lineman. I'm going with journeyman. Offensive lineman is my first journeyman. There are so many guys in the NFL that shock me they're still in the league. Truly, shocks me that they're still in the league. And every single year, they get signed by NFL teams, and you go, how is that dude still in the league? And my favorite one is Michael Jordan, the guard. Every single time the guard Michael Jordan gets signed, he always gets a post from Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, all of them. They always post it because his name is Michael Jordan. And every year, he's signed 3 or 4 times to NFL teams, and he plays for 1 or 2 games, then he gets cut. If you are just an okay practice squad lineman, you're going to get a 9-year career. It's impressive. And I have another video coming out here soon that if the offensive line issue does not get solved and the NFL fixes how they develop offensive linemen from mediocre college players to the pros, there's no way the NFL can expand, because the talent pool for offensive linemen, if you're just an okay practice squatter, you're gonna get a 9-year career in the NFL. It's impressive. I still can't believe that's what happens. But when Michael Jordan is getting signed for what feels like the last 6 years, every single month it feels like, if it's a position group that if you're an okay lineman, you're going to get multiple years out of it. So journeyman, I'm going to put it in the journeyman. Next, we have tight ends. Tight end, I'm going to put the situation was never right. I'm going to put the very end of the situation was never right. While I think multiple tight ends get cut early, they're abnormalities, right? The Patriots, for example, Devin Asiasi, they drafted in the 3rd round a couple of years ago with another young tight end. They both never really made it past year 3 in the NFL. But I'm thinking of like Cameron Brate was an okay tight end, right? He was an okay tight end. Not Isaiah Likely. I'm trying to think of the one for the Vikings, the backup for the Vikings. He got a multi-year extension, and he's a good run blocker. Like, if you're a good run blocking tight end, you're gonna get 7-8 years in the league. If you're a good receiving tight end, you're gonna get a 7-8 year career. If you are a roster tight end, you're gonna get multiple seasons. A perfect example, right, is Charlie Kolar for the Baltimore Ravens. He is a 3rd string tight end on a 2nd contract because he's a good run blocker. A 3rd string tight end on a multi-year contract. Because if you can do one thing right and be good enough to be rostered, they'll never throw you the ball. But if you can just, in situational plays on the goal line, go in and run block a one-on-one run block, you're going to make the roster. I'm telling you, tight end, it's very physically demanded. You got to be in shape, obviously. So, injury is definitely going to be there. But if you're just a solid run blocking tight end, you're going to have a multi-year career. You're going to. AJ Barner from Michigan, who was with the Seattle Seahawks last year and this year, I thought he was an amazing run blocker coming out of the draft, and I had him as an 8-year career veteran, and now he's catching passes. And that's someone who I thought could have an 8-year career as a run blocker. But if you even catch 1 or 2 touchdowns a year and you're a good run blocker, you're going to very likely make it past your rookie contract into a situation where you get a 2nd contract elsewhere. Because again, you're going to be shocked. If you look at an NFL roster, you can look at anyone who's 26 or 27 at the tight end position, you're going to be shocked how many teams they played for, because the situation was never right for them to thrive. They weren't, they're a good run blocker, but the team was poor, so they looked poor. Or they're a good receiving tight end, but they were never thrown the ball. Dan Arnold, the clip that went viral where the agent for Dan Arnold was talking about him, like, this kid has 4 touchdowns and 400 yards last year. He deserves way more than $2 million. Like, that's the level of, if you are just okay at your job, you're going to have a long-term career in the NFL. Next is wide receiver. Wide receiver, I am going to put the situation was never right. I'm going to put it just above tight end. I think guys like, again, Laquan Treadwell had a 9-year career in the NFL. He might still be on a team this year, but Laquan Treadwell, multiple, bounced around the league for 9 years. Philip Dorsett, one of my favorite wide receivers in NFL history. Philip Dorsett, bust of a 1st-round pick, had 2 good years with the Patriots, has been on 8 teams since he left the Patriots in 2020. It is 5 years later. He is rostered on the Las Vegas Raiders right now. He is on the roster. If you're just an okay wide receiver and you're not a shithole person, you're going to have a long-time career. Now, yes, there are going to be abnormalities of like Anthony Schwartz, right? Kevin White didn't really make it in the league. But Kevin White, 5 years after he was out of the league, was in a training camp, was in training camp with the Saints. So I feel like wide receiver, because it's such a dependent position on the quarterback throwing you the ball. If you're to show flashes of like, oh, he's an okay route runner. Oh, he has some pretty decent speed. Oh, he seems like a really nice guy and good in the film room. You're gonna get multiple chances, more than a 1-year flyer would, right? Next, we have running back. I'm gonna say 1-year flyer. Again, I would have said the situation was never right, but the way the NFL has been going the last 5 years, it's a running back by committee. There are so many running backs that have, like, in the last 5 years had a flash in the pan season that you never hear from again, right? James Robinson, obviously, is probably the biggest named one, but Boston Scott was the giant killer. That was his nickname on the Eagles, was the giant killer for 3 years. Has not been on a roster since. Dalvin Cook, he was at the Vikings for a couple of years and just fell off the face of the earth, right? I'm gonna say they do make a pass rookie contract, right? If you're good enough to be on a roster pass rookie contract, you're gonna get 1-year flyers. Pierre Strong, for example, for the Browns, is running back number 4, is still on the roster because guess what? He's a good third down back, good at pass protection. If you're an okay running back worthy of a 53-man roster, your shelf life is 4 or 5 years maybe. And that, again, I'm saying 4 years, not meaning that you're on the contract for 4 years, but you're on a NFL roster for 4 years. And after 4 years, do you have 1-year flyers on teams? I think running back fits that very well. And this video has gone on way longer than I intended. Sorry about that. But quarterback is the ultimate journeyman position, right? I think everyone can agree that there's a reason I chose Nathan Peterman to be the quarterback example. Nathan Peterman was on a roster 2 years ago. He was on the Las Vegas Raiders 2 years ago. That man was one of the worst quarterbacks the NFL has ever seen in the beginning of his career. And he was on a roster for 8 or 9 NFL seasons straight. There are guys like Chad Heineke, who was on the Kansas City Chiefs for 7 years. There are oh my God, dude. I see what I mean. Again, the minute I turn on a video, I forget everyone's name. It's Chad Henne and Taylor Heineke. Taylor Heineke, you know, he was good enough to be on a roster. Not a great starter. He was an okay starter, but he made it. But the last 3 years, he's been a quarterback 3 on a team. Nathan Peterman, I think he's a great example though of he is a very bad quarterback, but because I'm gonna guess in the film room, he knew the talk, like he knew the plays, and he's able to help coach young guys. He was on a roster for a while. If you are good enough as a quarterback to be on a final 53-man roster for any NFL team, you're going to get multiple chances with multiple franchises. And that's why I think journeyman, the quarterback position is a journeyman. Like, that is the best job in the NFL. Everyone always says that a journeyman quarterback 2, quarterback 3, is just the best job because you're holding a clipboard and you're almost never asked to start. All you have to do is talk to the starter, be like, hey man, here's what I saw, whatever you saw, and then you can, when you go back out there, you can think it over, and then you have another point of view in the future. That's the whole job of a journeyman quarterback. So I think quarterback, again, if you throw 10 touchdowns to 27 interceptions, guess what? You're probably getting a 1-year job, a 1-year deal the following offseason because he had starting experience in the NFL, and they're going to draft a young guy who's never started in the NFL before, and they want you to say, hey, here's what I saw, and it was wrong. Don't do that. Like, you can spin with the quarterback position so easily as to why they should deserve a 1-year deal. So, yeah, that is my hierarchy of difficulty and shelf life for the NFL position groups and how long they're going to be on a roster. So, for the rookie contract where they're out of the NFL by the end of a rookie contract length of 4 years, I have punter. Again, I think that's the only position that I think it goes through so quickly that if you're just an okay punter, you're not going to be in the league in a couple of seasons. 1-year flyers, these are guys that in the first 4 years have shown moments of being successful, and maybe in the pre-draft process, a team really liked, and then just they're like, oh, he's finally a free agent. Let's go sign him on a 1-year flyer, see if we can get out of him what we saw 4 years ago. That is going to be safety, linebacker, kicker, and running back. Then the situation was never right. This is, again, more key positions that in the pre-draft process in the NFL, that when the situation was never right, you just didn't get enough opportunity to show your skill set. And if you did show your skill set, it was never enough to be like, oh, this guy needs an extension with our team. And every single year, there's going to be teams taking flyers on you because it's position groups that carry a lot of guys on the roster. That's defensive lineman, corner, wide receiver, and tight end. Then journeyman is if you are a 53-man roster eligible player, you're gonna be on the roster until you want to retire, because these position groups are so thin at superstar talent that if you're just an okay talent who's again worthy of being a 53-man roster guy, you're going to end up on a team, and that is offensive line and quarterback. So if you guys enjoy, please do like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below, what position group do you disagree with? Do you think maybe kicker is also in that rookie contract where if you don't show any flashes in the first 4 years, you're out of the league? Or is defensive lineman, where if you're a okay defensive lineman, you can play for 10 years if you want to? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to hear you guys' thoughts, and I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.